Hello, everybody. I'm your host of the Alexi podcast, and thank you for tuning in to today's episode. It's going to be a little different because typically on this podcast, I show up solo, but I have such a special guest today. Recently, fitness has been an ongoing theme on this podcast, and you have one of the most interesting and experimental routes and opinions and strategies around fitness that I've seen.
Thank you.
And I would love to share it with the audience. Miss Caroline, aka to me, Ciaffy.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Caroline. I've been friends with Lexi for about 10 years now, and I've been on a fitness journey over the past probably like 6 years, and I think over the past year and a half, I've really dialed in and gotten really experimental with it, gotten really refined with it as well, and figured out what works for me, and that's been super cool and exciting.
Prior to this, what was your relationship with fitness?
I have been consistently working out probably for about 5 to 6 years, where it's been like consistent part of my life, where it's maybe 5-7 times a week.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Like top visitor of Barry's Bootcamp.
Yeah, and so before training for the marathon, I was really big into Barry's Bootcamp, and I've done like actually 1,200 classes at Barry's.
Yeah, when she says she's consistent,
yeah, I show up.
to say the least.
I love Barry's Bootcamp. That's been a life-changing thing for me, and really transformed my relationship to my body, to fitness, to pushing myself. It was such a positive thing for me, and I'll always love it, but definitely moving away from it for a little bit just to refine my goals a little bit. Now I actually have a run coach, and she programs all of my runs for me. There's specific paces and times that I have to hit. Usually I do those alone, but sometimes I'll go running with other people, and that's always fun too.
What are you training for at the moment?
I am currently training for a half marathon, which has been really exciting and fun. I last year did 2 full marathons, and I ran the LA marathon and then a marathon in Las Vegas. The LA marathon was actually my first marathon. It was just so much fun. After I did it the first time, I was like, I need to do that again. Now I am training for a half, which I'm still doing like a 14 or 16 week program, but it's been cool to decrease the volume a little bit, and I'm excited to see how fast I can run a shorter distance than a full and see what happens.
Can you walk us through a typical week?
It depends on if I'm training for something in terms of running. I mentioned I'm doing training for a half, so I'm running 5 to 6 times a week. But my ideal training split, I hybrid train. So I run and I lift. Monday, upper body, bicep, tricep, shoulders. Tuesday, lower body, glute, focus, hamstrings. Wednesday, I like to do a tempo run, so pushing my pace, incorporating some speed work. Thursday, quads. Friday, rest and mobility, and then Saturday, an easy run and a back workout, and then Sunday, a long, low heart rate, easy run.
Which is incredible.
Thank you.
You're a goddamn athlete. And then you look sexy and adorable the whole time you're doing it.
Thank you. I went to the gym the other day, and I had these little pink metallic ballet flats, and this woman was like, how are you going to be lifting the heaviest of everyone in this gym and walk out of here in those pink ass slippers?
That's what I'm saying. I had you unpick my fit because
Yeah.
I think you have one of the most eccentric styles out of anyone I know. It extends into your wardrobe, your art, your home, your workout outfits, like lifting the heaviest of anyone in the gym, and then wearing
Like a little pink flirty set.
having rainbow nails and I don't know, like red streaks in your hair. It's so good and so special, and I think so inspiring for me as someone that really likes to train hard. I was talking about this with a friend. I go to these circuit training classes, and I'm so bubbly and goofy and oscillating on almost ditzy in my personality, but when it comes to a workout class, I'm a fucking unit. I'm training like I'm trying to train for the military or something, and then I leave and I'm like, okay, fun everyone. And I think, at least online or what I was seeing in my personal life, you know, you had like the fit girls that were in their Gymshark and you know, and then you had the fashion girlies, and there wasn't much crossover of being in a cutesy little outfit and it being just as serious, and then also being just as silly and fun.
Yeah, and I think there's space for both, and I love that you have that same like mentality. For me, fitness is arguably like one of the biggest parts of my life. I adore working out. It's changed my life. It is a huge part of who I am and my daily practice. But It's not my goal to be a personal trainer. It's not my goal to make money off of fitness. It's not my goal to be competitive in fitness. It's just a part of my life. And there is sort of a gap maybe in like what we see online. There's like professional athletes and fitness influencers, and then that's it. And it's exciting to see people incorporating healthy patterns into their day-to-day and not being ruled by fitness and just having it be integrated into who they are.
Yeah, where the fitness lifestyle is your personality.
Yeah.
I think you have your whole style and your whole personality, and then on top of it, you're a goddamn bodybuilder. Just on the low.
Just on the low, yeah. I have come out recently as a strong person.
Caroline's recently come out as incredibly strong.
I posted these photos of myself where I'm half naked basically, and everyone was like, wait, what? You're jacked.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, just letting you know.
But reeling it back into your training, you're gonna do a half. You already did 2 marathons. So you're just working on speed this time?
Yeah, after I did my second marathon last year, I got a qualifying time for the Chicago Marathon and Boston Marathon.
What does that mean?
There's a few marathons in the world that are called the world majors, and it's like New York, Chicago, Paris, London, Berlin, and they're very challenging to get into because they're the biggest races.
You can't just sign up for...
With New York, it's a lottery, and so you could be selected at random, but you can also run it with a charity or you can qualify. And New York actually has a really competitive qualifying time. It's like a 3:15 for women in my age bracket. The qualifying time for the Chicago Marathon, which is apparently just a really fun race.
Fun because of the community, because of the training?
Yeah, these are like huge races, like the whole city comes out and it's a flat race. The crowds are just apparently insane. People say that like that in New York, they're life-changing races. Like it's so many people show up. And
did you cry after your marathon?
Of course. Also, I'm like screaming out. Like I was like looking around and no one was like screaming out like I was. I was kind of like, how are you guys just not yelling?
You don't want to emote the entire time? You don't have a sound that's trapped in you right now?
And then like the medic came up to me and was like, are you okay?
No.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just like screaming out. I can't control it.
It's a spiritual experience. There's something deep inside of me that needs to be released.
It's like when tennis players make the noises when they
run.
Yeah, you just have to.
Who's the girl in hot pink that keeps screaming?
Shrieking at the top of her lungs.
So you get a qualifying time.
So yes, I'm running the Chicago Marathon this year, and I kind of felt like one marathon a year was maybe good. So I'm running this half sort of as like a maintenance phase before I start getting into my Chicago training block.
When you were running a marathon, you're running 26.2 miles.
Yeah.
What are the repeating thoughts in your head as you are running?
You come up with mantras that really work for you, and it is so much more than just running. It's actually not about running at all. It's like running is like the least of the things that's happening. Like it's so mental, and especially if you've done the training block, like your aerobic fitness is there and you are able to complete this. And so it is really a battle of mental fitness. A lot of things that I like to say to myself are like, you are equal to this challenge. And in the Las Vegas, because I was going for a specific time goal, my goal was sub 3:30, and I kept saying to myself, you are worthy and you are qualified to get this time goal. You are capable and you are worthy of it.
When you're saying this to yourself, are you repeating them over and over again, or does it feel like every mile or so you have to repeat this to yourself?
When you are running like that, you sort of like fade in and out of consciousness, and like you like kind of black out a little bit, and then you come back, and then you start to feel pain, and you have to work with the present moment of whatever is happening. And there's also things that happen within, because you're not just like going on a run alone. You have spectators and there's people running alongside you.
Sometimes you're running next to someone really irritating.
Right. Sometimes people get in your way, and there's a lot of stuff happening. So what was frustrating you about?
She loved to sprint and then walk and sprint and then walk. So I'm holding a steady pace, which is fine. Take whatever strategy you want. I was just doing it for the sake of, it was a Mother's Day run. I did it with our friend Drew,
Right.
who also has lost his mom, and we thought, since we're both really into fitness and there was a Mother's Day half, let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm running my steady pace. She would either be sprinting past me or I would pass her when I was walking, and I'm like, I just don't want to do the race near you. I don't want to be, I don't want you to be here, but I can't do anything about that because you are here. We're both here.
I had an experience at my last marathon where a man came up to me, and it was mile 20-ish, and I was slowing down. It was mile 20-ish, and I was kind of slowing down, like just hitting the wall that happens after you run 20 miles, and you're like, how am I supposed to do 6.2 more? And this man comes up behind me, and he starts yelling at me. He's like, what are you doing? Like, you're stronger than me, you're faster than me, you're not going to finish after me. And he's like getting in my face, and immediately I was so pissed off. I was like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. Like, I
don't care if this is your way of giving me a pep talk. I don't want to hear it.
So much rage came up. And then I, like, before I responded, because this is all happening internally, like within milliseconds, I was like, you know, this is a repeated pattern in my life. This is something that is greater than this man coming up and hooking a trigger point for me. And then I was like, okay, you know what? This has already happened, so I'm just gonna let that go, and I'm gonna trust him, and I'm just gonna go with it. And so I looked at him and I said, take me there. And and then we started running together in silence. And then after maybe like a mile, he kind of was like, I can't keep going, like, go without me. And I was like, you can do it, come on. And like, we like coached each other. And then I said, like, you're equal to this challenge. Not only are you able to do this, you are capable of it. And like, you are 100% able to do it. And he said to me, take me there. And so it was just this really, really, really beautiful experience that initially started off by being extremely triggered by somebody else and their energy. You could have
yelled at him and disconnected completely.
Yeah, and instead I had that's, for me, that was the highlight of my race. And like, that was, when I say running is not the forefront of running, like, so much happens that is outside of running where you are facing parts of yourself that you didn't even know.
It's a microcosm for your existence.
Yeah. And so perhaps that woman that was upsetting you and frustrating you was triggering something within you that you were trying to work through. And physical fitness is really the vehicle to move through those things.
Said so beautifully.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful.
Thank you. And now Drew is training for the LA Marathon this year.
He's so inspired by you. He talks about you all the time. You are his inspiration for this.
That makes me so happy.
I think when he's running, he thinks of you. I think you are his coach in his head. And I completely agree with what you're saying, that when it comes to physical fitness, running in this case, but just generally, it's not really about fitness at all, especially when you're running for that long. Have you read Haruki Murakami's book, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running?
No, but I've been recommended, and I think that will be in my next read.
Overlapping concepts.
Yeah. And I think, like, we're talking about things that maybe not everyone is able to do. Maybe people will feel watching this, I'm not able to run a marathon, I'm not able to run far. I guarantee you there's another form of spiritual, physical practice that you can feel embodied in, and it doesn't have to be running or lifting heavy or achieving extreme fitness PRs. You can simply like achieve these things through meditation, there's other modalities, and you really have to kind of figure out what works for you. And there's some people that just don't like running, and that's not their medicine. And for me, like, I've always liked running, and I've known that that's something that resonates with me. But like, I don't like going on the Stairmaster, I don't like boxing, I don't like doing these other things, and I don't like yoga. And some people are so connected to that, and that's everyone's journey with fitness, and how they relate to their body is completely different, and there's no right or wrong.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else that comes to mind that has taken you to these places?
I would definitely say meditation, and I've done actually 4 now 10-day silent meditation courses. Before I ran my first one, I had done 3. I really thought about the practice of, it's called Vipassana meditation. I really thought about this meditation technique while running, because there's this sort of philosophy that if we can just witness everything that's happening within and on our body and the sensations and not be attached to pleasure and not be adverse to pain, we will achieve true peace, because we are just witnessing the universal law that everything is always changing. And so sometimes when I'm running, I'm going to feel pain in my hip. I'm going to feel really tired. I'm going to feel, I hate this. I don't want to be here. If I just observe that and look at it, and I don't get attached to it, and I don't feed into the story of, yeah, you feel pain and you're failing this run and this is a bad run and you're not worthy, and you're slower than everyone else. If I don't feed into that story, I just witness this pain and then it eventually just vanishes. And same as like, I'm hitting a runner's high, this is amazing. If I don't get attached to that bliss, I'm able to achieve like a much more stable and equanimous run that is like a safe space for me to explore my internal landscape, instead of just like, oh yeah, I hit that time mark. That was my Vegas run. And then on my LA marathon on mile 18, I think it was, a Barry's Bootcamp instructor, I didn't even know she was going to be watching. She just jumped out of the crowd and she started running with me. And she had actually been one of the first people that I'd ever talked to about running marathons. She had run one previously and I was so inspired and I wanted to do one so badly. And I asked her all these questions. And then, yeah, mile 18, she jumps out of the crowd and starts running with me. I was like, I'm not doing well right now. Like, I'm struggling. And she's like, okay, I'm just going to run with you. And like, we're not going to talk. And like, let's just go. And she ran with me for like 5 minutes. And we just, ran in silence. And it was so, and then like, after that, she dropped off, and because she was literally just a spectator.
Like, ma'am, you can't do this. Get off the course.
And
she's like, I'm doing something bigger than this race.
And she was. And then I just, that like gave me so much energy to finish the race. And like, I just thought about like all of the fitness instructors that have witnessed me over the past and guided me on this journey and have given me like such a gift of believing in myself, feeling strong, feeling confident in my body, feeling safe. Like, it's so much more. And like all of the people that have shown up when they're going through life and have dedicated their time to coaching, and just felt so grateful. And so it's like, and then now she's running it this year, so I'm excited to, I have a few friends that are running and I just can't wait to cheer them on.
How special.
Yeah.
It's really so special.
It is, yeah.
All that's accumulated to this exact moment. Oh, I'm such a little like sensitive.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
And what about you? Because I know that I feel like you've picked up fitness and like had like, I love your journey with it, because you're also one of those people that is like, well, I'm going to go rock climbing and I'm going to go boxing and today I'm going to go golfing or play tennis. And like, you try a bunch of stuff, which I think is so cool. And what's your relationship to it all?
I like play.
Yeah.
Play is really important to me. And I grew up playing sports, and then of course play is such an integral part of childhood and early adolescence. And then when I turned 18 and graduated high school, I started feeling that my fitness had to be looks based.
Yeah.
So I got an LA Fitness membership and I hit the elliptical, and then I was, I don't know, just all of a sudden my whole mindset around it felt, okay, well, this is what you need to do to maintain a physique to fit in to the look and the standard that you want. And play was completely eliminated from the equation. And then when I moved to New York, this feels really pick me, but I promise it was I promise it was bigger than what I thought. But I was really interested in the skateboarders. I know. Shut up, everybody. No. They looked like they were having so much fun, and it was social and it was a hangout, and then it was sport on top of that, where skateboarding was just the vehicle that this was happening.
Yeah.
Rock climbing was really important to me because that's a hobby that I had as a child. So it brought me back to memories that were forgotten. I don't often think about my 7 or 8-year-old self. And rock climbing was really important to me during those years of my life. So I channeled into my childhood and then also got to be competitive. And now I get so excited to physically move my body. The mind to muscle connection
Yeah.
I'm addicted to the feeling of feeling one particular muscle, because oftentimes I think the place that a lot of us spend the majority of our time is in our head.
Yeah.
And it's so great to put all of your focus onto this random spot in your arm.
Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna go into my butt right now. Stop thinking right now. It's about my feet right now. Like even stretching. And that I love. So my fitness journey, which in turn has honestly, not that it's about this, but has ended up bringing the best results to my life, is not having that as the main factor for getting me out there.
The thing that has been most important, people oftentimes ask me, like, how can I get bigger glutes? How can I achieve these goals in terms of my physical appearance? When going to the gym, it's so important to have a why that is outside of aesthetic results. Because realistically, in my case, I've been working out very consistently for about 6 years, and it's a multi-year long endeavor to build muscle, to achieve athletic goals, and it's something that takes consistency. And I think if, having bigger glutes or slimmer thighs is your main focus for going to the gym, that motivation is probably not going to sustain through periods of vacation, grief, depression, hard times at work, stress. If you have a really substantial why as to go to the gym and it's rooted in something that feels bigger than aesthetic goals, I think that you're much more likely to succeed in those endeavors. And yeah, for me, it's been about feeling safe within my body and feeling safe within the world. And so I think those are my why and my goals when it comes to my physical fitness journey.
I agree. I don't think it's sustainable to get there if that's the main goal, and vice versa. You achieve the glute size.
Yeah.
It's only going to satisfy you for a little bit. That, okay, I did it.
Yeah. And in that,
I had them.
Maybe that is like your initial reason for going to the gym, but there's also something beneath that. Is my actual underlying why that I want to feel more confident? Is that the why? And ultimately, like, maybe you start going to the gym for aesthetic purposes, and through the process, if you remain consistent with it, you will probably start going because you feel that it helps clear your mental space. Like, you feel it helps your health. Like, there's all these other things that will come as secondary factors to working out that will become then the main reasons that you enjoy working out.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I also enjoy the focus that comes with working out, really getting to zone in on something.
Yeah.
Just as much as zoning out.
Yeah.
Where it's like getting out of your head, but then also really, for rock climbing, for instance, you're hanging on the side of a wall. You are involved.
Yeah.
You are very much involved in every present moment, and that feels really good and really fun.
Yeah.
Fitness is one huge priority to you, and I feel like a passion, like a true passion. What else in your life do you feel like has either given you this sort of safety, or do you think this is really pivotal?
I think in terms of
where you're at?
Of safety and feeling connected to my body, fitness has been a huge part of it. But I also think things that I love, watching movies or like being in a creative flow, like all of those things make me feel safe and connected to my body and my purpose. And I think that they're all interwoven in a way that, like, it's hard to pinpoint down what we're talking about earlier about how we're these multifaceted people that enjoy working out, and then we go off and wear our fun outfit and create a cool concept for some short film, and they all relate to each other, and it's not one or the other. I think that everything blends together, and that's been really fun to see the ways in which, like, fitness actually aids in my creativity and allows me to clear my mental space and focus in and block out the world, and then the rest of the day I'm able to then be creative or be productive.
Are you open to sharing some of your fun and experimental little fitness rituals along the way? Frogs are coming to mind.
That is okay. Yes. Well,
Or little edibles during your 18-mile runs, or your playlist that you
Yeah.
choose, whatever is coming to mind.
I think in terms of okay.
Let's resituate.
Let's get comfortable. When you were talking about injuries, I think injuries are something that we all fear. We don't like having injuries, and they are really frustrating and can feel, if you are somebody that has a daily movement practice, they can feel sort of like life ending. Like it can feel really scary when you get injured. But
also, when you associate your physical practice with your mental health, it's so easy to, oftentimes, if I'm physically ill, suddenly my mental health goes right with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this because I'm sick or because I have depression?
Yes.
It's like, kind of both right now.
Yeah.
Girly.
And so, that being said though, whenever I have gotten injured, I've always really taken that as an opportunity to learn about my body, because one, I'm probably doing something either incorrectly, like with incorrect form, or I'm overdoing it and I'm pushing past a point that I need to. And in my first marathon training block, I actually did get pretty badly injured, and I developed like the worst tendonitis in my knees. Like there's this one 16-mile run where it's like I was like going up hills sideways. It was pouring rain. I was on my period. A bee stung me. It was like the most horrific.
Wait. Where?
On just like a 16-mile run.
Okay.
And it was so challenging. My knees were in so much pain. And there was maybe like 3 or 4 weeks where I was like, I think I've permanently injured my body, and it would actually be the braver and stronger choice to not run the marathon. But for me, I was like, I just want to keep pushing, and
because it challenges your mantra.
Yeah, and
I'm qualified for this.
And I felt like, for me, I think a lot of people show up to a marathon and they don't know if they can do it. I never had a doubt in my mind that I could do it. If anything, was completely overly confident, and ended up doing 2 workout sessions a day, taking it farther than I needed to, and ended up getting injured. And that injury to me was an amazing opportunity to look at what I was doing and how I needed to increase my rest, where I needed to just create more space for relaxation and mobility, and all of these things that actually do make you stronger. Rest makes you stronger, and I feel like
that's been a hard lesson for me to learn.
I think it's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn. And incorporating rest consistently is extremely important, and I think that my injuries in many ways have taught me that. And so I always come to my injuries in a state of gratitude, because I know that it's teaching me something.
God, you're evolved.
Even though I hate, obviously, being injured.
As someone that's so achievement oriented, and I like to impress myself by being, look at all these things you did. You did so many things when, no one even has to ask me what I'm up to. But if they were and I said nothing, I would be so ashamed. It's like, I think you need to do nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing is a beautiful skill.
Yeah, and you just cannot recover and grow. Every night we all go to bed and we sleep, and we know that we need to rest to be able to function properly the next day. And so
but when rest, sorry to interrupt, when rest requires more than just your nightly sleep, I start to really struggle with that.
Yes, of course. That's for me the hardest part of
because I slept my 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
I should be good to go.
Yeah.
Your body sometimes,
and especially
needs
being
more.
people who experience periods and have ovaries and go through a menstrual cycle, there are just the span of a month, your energy levels are constantly fluctuating. Your needs are constantly changing based on where you are in your cycle. And
do you follow your cycle?
I follow my cycle to the point where I'm aware of it, but I also do I don't sync my training with my cycle because I just can't. Like if I'm training for a marathon, you know,
I'm right.
just got to keep going. But that being said, like
you're mindful of it.
If I am having intense cramps or I feel extremely lethargic, that's just going to be an easier day for me. And I'm not going to be hard on my performance that day because I know that there's other factors at play. But that being said, when I got injured, I took it as a really beautiful moment to evaluate, why am I doing this? What would happen if I stopped doing this? And how can I become stronger and heal from this? And one of the things that I experimented with, I'm also very into like alternate health and all kinds of alternate healing modalities. And so I got really experimental with it and I tried a bunch of stuff. I went to a physical therapist, which is important. I started going to chiropractic and acupuncture care and doing all of that. And then I also incorporated a medicine called Combo, which is actually like a frog medicine, and it is the venom of a frog that is then burned onto your skin, and you drink like a lot of water before, and it's called the hunter's medicine a lot of times in sort of indigenous practices. And there's also like studies around bee venom with like Lyme disease, and small amounts of venom and poison can actually increase your energy, can, help with just healing. And so I did that, and it is supposed to help really a lot with inflammation. And I did notice like basically the 4 weeks leading up to the marathon, I kind of went every day before my long run. So I did 4 sessions, and I just noticed like my endurance levels the following day when I would go on the run were just way higher than if I hadn't done the ceremony. And so
fascinating.
That's something that I also did, but of course do your own research with that. It's called Combo, Kambo. That's something that I also really like about fitness, is like it allows me to then like explore different alt health options and test things out and be funky with it.
What was the... And if you don't want to talk about any of these things, let me know. Wasn't there a shot you got?
Yeah, and so that's another thing that I did that significantly helped was I explored peptide therapy, and I think a lot of people know peptides now because of Ozempic and sort of weight loss peptides. There are other peptides that help with injuries, tendon tears, and so I used BPC 157 for a few weeks. And it is specifically for like tendon tears, and it helped tremendously. Again, I was doing, I mentioned chiropractor, acupuncture, physical therapy, frog poison. There's like a lot of stuff that went into recovering from that injury. And so it's hard to say like what the one thing was, but I actually have a friend who I recommended. She had like a wrist issue and she was going to get surgery, and then she started taking BPC 157 and no longer needs that surgery. And so I know that it is really helpful in terms of injuries. It's not as helpful for injury prevention, but it does help with like inflammation. And yeah, again, I always talk to a qualified professional doctor.
Just a girl on a podcast.
Just a girl on a podcast, but it helps.
This is anecdotal advice, but no, I think it's fair to say that you live more extreme than a lot of people.
I do.
So when listening to this, for those who don't know, which also I hope your followers listen to this.
I hope so.
They get to get a little bit more insight into you. But I feel like you oscillate in a lot of extremes in life, and you can always take a little sprinkle of this.
Yeah.
I
think was something that came up for me a lot, is that I through all of these endeavors have realized like, I'm a very extreme person, and in some way like that is my greatest strength. I love that quality about myself. I think
it makes you the best.
Yeah, I think I know if I want to do something, I trust myself to do it, but it is also like your greatest strength oftentimes has the ability to also be your greatest weakness, because I'm pushing myself a lot of times harder than I maybe need to. Or like even when I did this last 10-day silent meditation, I was like, did I really need to do this? Like, like, what am I coming here to learn? Like,
You've gone to YouTube and typed in 30-minute guided meditation and I have to go for 10 full days of silence.
And so
you're like, I am who I am.
And so I think that that's something that, like, you know, comes up, and I have also appreciated in some ways, while training for a marathon is very extreme, it has shown me areas that, like, yes, incorporating rest is non-negotiable, and it has in some ways allowed me to create a lot more of a balanced routine, which I think is really cool. So
how do you, asking for myself, how do you know when it's time to keep pushing and when it's time to take a step back?
I think it's deeply intuitive, and there's certain days where
it is deeply intuitive, but I'm lying to myself. I feel like you always know deep down. Like, this is hard, but I can keep going, or this is hard.
Is it hurting me to keep going, or do I just not want to be here because it's like raining outside and I'd rather be like at home watching TV? Like,
totally. Any concluding thoughts on your fitness journey, what you're looking forward to? I know you're running another marathon.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to continuing to see like what's possible for me. And I actually also have like enjoyed when I post fitness content online. It's really, really well received, and it's a little bit scary for me. I don't post that often, but like it's cool to see people engaging with that, and so that's something that I'm like kind of dabbling in, and maybe like interested in being like a little bit of an influencer.
You're my influencer, you're Drew's influencer.
Well, because like, yeah, I know that a lot of like my friends feel like the knowledge that I share is impactful, and so I do think that like it's something that I'm maybe excited to just explore a little bit more. But yeah,
I think it's so impactful as a friend, as a fan, as a follower, because your route has been so unconventional. I think a lot of the role models I see in the fitness industry are pretty cookie cutter. They either played sports or they had, you know, whatever it is. I'm just seeing I see an archetype.
Right.
And you were one of the first people in my personal life and online. I was like, I just like your approach to this.
Thank you.
It looks more exciting, it looks more challenging, it looks more fun, it looks more stylish.
Yeah.
And I want to get into your personality by asking you some like quick rapid fire questions, Coke or Pepsi style. What are your big three?
Cancer, Capricorn. I always get confused because this is actually like a very loaded question.
I'm like quick rapid fire. She's like, I don't do that actually.
My mom never shared my birth certificate with me, so there are like things that like my chart like changed when I found out my true time and location. So So I'm a Cancer. I'm a Cancer rising, Cancer sun, and Capricorn moon.
So far.
So far.
Allegedly, they say. Introvert or extrovert?
I'm both. Extroverted, introvert. I value my alone time, but I'm a social, like, I feel like I can talk to anyone.
Crunchy or soft foods?
Extremely soft. Only soft. Crunchy food, I hate.
I don't think I've ever seen you eat a crunchy food in the 10 years I've known you.
If I'm eating chips, like, we're in a zombie apocalypse, and that is the only option to eat.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
If I'm eating chips, I am famished.
Short film or feature film?
Feature film. That's the goal. I like to watch feature films, and I like to direct a feature film.
Should we take a little moment to talk about Vile?
Yeah, Vile is a short film that I directed with our friend Claudia, and it will actually probably be coming out in about a month or so online, which feels long awaited. It's doing a short film is such an interesting process because it goes through a festival cycle and you really can't share it with people, but the premise is about a supermodel whose appeal sort of begins to dim, and she starts going to a magical apothecary to take herbal supplements to try and revitalize her appearance, and things just go a little crazy. And it's actually been cool because it's somewhat in line with themes of the substance. And
I was wondering what you thought when Substance came out, because Smile was created without any doubt.
No, somebody commented on the trailer the other day, like, isn't this just a copy of the Substance? I was like, well, this was posted 1 year ago. But I think it's actually really cool, because creating a short film like that, it's been like 3 years since I wrote it. It's like something that is creating anything. By the end, you're gonna feel like mixed emotions about it and feel like, oh, I feel so much anxiety about releasing it. And it has been really exciting to see something so well received that is a similar theme and similar like visual style. They're very different, but they do have similarities. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely not competing.
God. They're both nominated for Oscars. Come on now.
So I'm excited to release that and then, create something new.
Mountains or beach?
Santa Cruz, where you get the mountains and the beach.
Santa Cruz.
But probably beach. Santa
Okay.
Cruz is fun because you're like in the redwoods and then you go to the beach.
Sun or rain?
Love sun.
Fucking love sun. Okay, recent book you read?
I just read The Girl with All the Gifts. And it's like a zombie apocalypse kind of story with like children. And
Do you recommend?
I did. I really enjoyed it. It's actually a very popular book that came out many years ago and then was made into a movie. And my mom recommended it to me and she really likes it. So I enjoyed it.
What about the last movie you watched that you really enjoyed?
The last movie I watched was 2 nights ago, and it was Sing Sing with Colman Domingo, and it was a beautiful, beautiful movie. It was about like a prison center where men kind of put on this show, theater show in a prison rehab facilitation center, and it was just beautiful.
And my last one, little hippy dippy. What part of nature has been inspiring you the most lately?
I have been really inspired by the colors of the sky and the clouds.
Okay.
What about you? I'd love to know your answer for that. Can we ask all the same questions again for you?
Okay. Last book I read was Bunny by Mona Awad.
Oh, that's in my library.
But the last book that I read that I really recommend is The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. I loved it. He also wrote American Psycho. Prep school Los Angeles kids that have too much money and too much time on their hands, and it's written autobiographically, and I find that to be so good because you feel like you're reading someone's diary, and it felt that much juicier. Last movie I saw that really impressed me. The last movie I watched that left an impact was Eraserhead.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I was going to say, I just watched...
We were together. Where am I? Oh my god, why can't I remember his name?
David Lynch.
It was on the passing of David Lynch, and we were together, and oh my god, anyone that says that's their favorite movie, fuck off. That's a student film.
It is definitely... It's definitely something.
He was just fucking around.
Yeah. And in some ways that's really cool and inspiring to see.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's
Like a little, 50s woman dancing in the pipes is awesome. But don't try to tell me that changed your life. You're a fucking liar. And then the thing that's been inspiring me from nature most lately is Hawaiian flowers. For some reason, any of these tropical flowers.
Yeah, they're so cool.
And shells.
I love shells.
I love.
Oh, the beach sounds so good right now.
R.I.P. Malibu.
I know. Oh, so sad.
Because I was gonna drive to Malibu as a little sweet escape when Donald Trump came into office, and then my friend texted me, "We're evacuating right now. Malibu's on fire." And then I went away for the holidays, and I came back, and I was like, I need to go back to Malibu. Didn't do that, and they're like, Malibu's on fire. Now the Palisades are on fire.
Yeah, it's so sad.
So take me to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by dogs right now.
Yeah. I watched, actually, I'll send it to you, this beautiful reel about how nature is like everything that we do, and like the silkworms create the ballet flats that ballerinas dance in, and it's given us the mercury for our thermometers, and nature is everything. Like nature is this rug, this microphone, like it's provided everything for us. And so I think that's just inspiring to know like everything is of the earth that we are witnessing, and it's cool.
Send it to me.
Yeah.
I'll link it down below. It's been such a pleasure to have you on.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you all so much for listening.
If Vile is out, I will link it in the description box and in the show notes. I'll have your Instagram down below. Follow along. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, just an honor to be your friend and to see your journey. And I'm always inspired by your perspectives and all of that. So thank you for having me.
Love. And if you guys have any feedback, send me a little DM. I'd love to hear what you think about this episode. And I'll talk to you guys later. Next episode. Bye.
Oh my God, fun.
Fun.